Oh, hello, everybody. Hello,
Hello,
James.
Moto. Hello, people
Welcome
on.
back to the Big Picture Pinball Show. I'm finally at home from being on the road. Long pinball show tour. It's a little hiatus for a month or so. So here we
But
are.
and we're back with all kinds of great news. A lot of things have been happening behind the scenes, and we're here to share them with you, as well as share some of the people involved in our madness that we're finally ready to explode and share with everybody. So a lot of cool stuff going along, and it takes a team of really cool people to make this happen. So we're going to share some members of our team, as well as show some cool videos, and we have a really good, solid show with a lot of cool stuff to show today. So really excited that we're here. As everybody knows, for the Big Picture Pinball Show, that this is an interactive kind of live streaming show, so anything can kind of happen. We get off course, we ask questions, we talk to people about their filmmaking and what they do in film, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the Skillshot Baby project that we launched our Kickstarter for last week or so. It's been a huge success, but we still have to keep pushing forward to get our full funding. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We have auditions coming up, a second round of auditions coming up for that. We're going to talk about auditions and how you can help us above and beyond just the Kickstarter. We want you to be participate and be interactive with the filmmaking process itself. We had a really amazing response as the word has gotten out about it. People are like, this is amazing, and I've been slammed with meetings and doing stuff. So if you emailed me and I haven't gotten back to you, I'll get back to you. I'll circle back around. But if it's more than just like a thumbs up and hey, thanks, man, and I got to put some brain juice to it. My brain juices are all used up. So anyway, they'll recharge themselves, and then I will put back a thoughtful something to you via email or text or whatever. But thank you very much for the great outpouring of support. And we're going to highlight a lot of those people later on in the program. We'll talk a little bit about who's been backers of the project. We'll read off your names. We'll talk about the cool stuff that we have going on. We also have some cool rewards that we can show and tell too a little bit, but we're getting the tokens in, we're getting different things in, and we're really excited to get to that point and be able to share all that stuff. So before I ramble on about too much stuff, which I happen to do because I'm so excited.
It's a lot. It's so much.
But it's so cool. We've worked years on this thing, and we're finally able to share it with everybody. And it really has been a long journey, and we're finally able to share it and get it out there. And I just to tweet. So, Amoto, sorry, go ahead. Listen a little bit.
I think you said it all, James.
I'm sorry, Amoto.
No,
too excited.
Yeah. For real though, thanks everyone who's donated so far and who's reached out and wished us luck and who's shared. Really, that's all we're asking for. Just share it with the masses, and so many of you have. So truly, thank you for that. And if I haven't reached out to you personally, I promise I will. I see you. Hello to everyone in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Joel. I see you. See, we didn't.
Hi, Joel.
We would never ban you. Magic Ditto, happy birthday. He just turned 40 and he should still audition for the role. It's funny how I think when you're like in arcade and pinball scene, like you can be 40 but you really look like you're in your early 20s.
It's your child at heart. It keeps you young, Amoto.
It's the cut off sleeves for me and the back hide my gray hair.
Yes.
But yeah, there's been a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't really fit the description, or at anything. Just don't. That's kind of what we have in our heads, and that's a very film industry format of submitting for casting calls. But if you're into pinball and you want to try out some acting chops, like it doesn't matter. Come out. And plus, this is for only like 3 roles, and our feature has, 25 different speaking parts. I'm sure y'all will
Yeah.
make it in
So,
somewhere. So don't
so
let it discourage you. We want to see your videos, and we want to see you this weekend at the casting
well,
calls.
we want to meet you too, and charm us. Tell us what you love about pinball. We'll have a dedicated amount of time to hang out with you a little bit. Get hear how you read, see your kind of general look. And again, there's people that we've. This is the second round of auditions, and the first round we met a lot of really great people, but at the same time, they might be good for another role, or we want to see everybody before we commit to too much. So, and we had some ideas, but we had a shift. We had some ideas for our lead, but we had a shift because he backed out because of certain health issues. So we've had some hiccups. But those hiccups could be your window in. So, please, we're open to anything. We're open to everybody. Now, at the same time, if there's a role that you think is meatier, but you think it just shows off your acting chops, just do the role. We don't care. There's a couple roles there that we think that would be better for less experienced people, that we can pull your performance out of you. And there's other ones that we think are meatier that will take more from the actor, but you'll know if you read it. And then if you think, hey, I don't fit this description, this is for a man, but I'm a woman, or whatever, just read it, man. I just want to see what you do and see who you are, and then put it in my head who you are. Plus, we have the power of writing. We could write you apart. We could do all kinds of cool stuff because you are talking to the creators here, right here. All right. Emoto, I want to jump into the show. We have something that we made very early on in the program from one of our, who will be interviewed shortly after, our good buddy Chip, made us the SSB theme song. And it's kind of been out there. We've kind of shared it with everybody. And as you donate, you will get a high-res version of it. I came with him with some sketches of ideas, and he produced this wonderful song. And actually, Chip and Emoto wrote the lyrics for the project. So we created a lyric video, and we want to play that for you. It's one thing, we've been using the music as our background to the videos that we've been producing to share with you for the crowd campaign and whatever. It's our kind of a rockabilly song that we have going, which is our theme song for the project. But it has some really, really cool lyrics, and it really stands on its own. So, Emoto, if we could play that, we will then come back around and we'll hang out with Chip and learn a little bit about Chip and our other interviewees.
Sounds great. And just to remind everyone in the chat and coming in, at the end of each show, we do a little giveaway wheel for everyone who asks questions in the chat. We want you to be really engaged with what we're talking about. We want to hear from you, so please drop your questions in the chat and we'll get to it. Even if we don't maybe get to read it out loud, we appreciate it, and you will be put in the giveaway.
The wheel of possibility. So if not, just feel really competitive and get those questions in so we can make a fun show. Because I gotta have Marco's swag more than anything else.
Like the wheel per person.
It is the wedge, the wheel wedge.
One pie. Piece.
Pie, but they will see
One
that.
Piece of pie. Okay, I'm going to the content screen.
Belly up to the counter at the arcade at the arcade. Getting my tokens from the token machine at the arcade. How did I win the pinball ring? That's the Skill shot, baby. Skill shot, baby. Eerie Beery. That's the one. High score. Get me some. Skill shot, make it hot. Skill shot, crank it down. No chopping wood. Skip the safe shots, even if I could. 'Cause my drop catch gets the free looks in the loop pass. Cools the kooks. Orbit the rack with the backdoor kickback. That's a thing. Putting in the token and making it sing. Skill shot, baby. Skill shot, baby. Make it hot. Make it hot. Make it hot. Make it hot.
All right. Wow, I didn't expect to see JoJo, the sock monkey, at the end. James, that was great.
We got the special sock monkey wave at the end.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So, from right clockwise, Emoto, James, we have Lisa Barcy, our animator. We have Brian Verge, aka Chip, who just did that awesome song and a lot of other music you'll see in our projects. And our UPM and assistant director, production manager, assistant director, Jen, the rock star. J Roop in the house.
Jen's in the house.
Hey, y'all.
So, awesome music, Chip. You've been a good friend for a lot of years. So Chip's got to depart here. He might be able to come back, but he's got a boogie to and then return. So I want to squeeze a few questions into Chip before, and then he can take off. And then we'll chug on to other people. So Chip, before I do all that, you've introduced them all, but let's actually go around and talk to everybody a little bit about what their role is in the project, as well as what do they do as a day job, which I always think is kind of interesting, especially for Chip. So let's start out with Chip. What is your tell us a little bit about your what you're going to be doing on our project, the film project, and what is your day job?
Well, I think. Depending on what you guys want, I'm doing the music. So, I've done a little bit of that. So I hope that's the role that you guys want for me. So that's what I'm working on, the incidentals, and it's a great script. And so there's a lot of, there's a lot of fun musical ideas that I'm getting from reading it. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to see it get put together. And James and I have known each other for, since the dawn of time. So, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to work on a project with him. So, and we've done projects in the past, but this one I'm particularly excited about. So you asked what I do during the day.
Yes, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah, mostly I chauffeur my daughter around. That seems to be what I've been doing lately. So I've been working from home. I work in Houston. On space programs, various ones. I think last time we talked to you, I was working on a private space station program. I've now switched over. I'm working on a lunar project for this company called Intuitive Machines. We're going to launch at the beginning of the next year. So that's going to be all over the news. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
awesome. So one of the jokes with Chip growing up was, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science, but Chip is actually a rocket scientist. So that's just kind of, he works for NASA, or has worked for NASA in the past. So it's always been kind of fun, because hearing his stories about docking rockets to the space station, or whatever project he was working on, Mars lander robots from when he was in college. You lived up on a big mountain in Hawaii for a while, didn't you? What was that gig?
I did, yeah. That was a lot of fun. So there's a telescope out on the volcano on Maui. Haleakala is the name of the volcano, and there's a telescope that the Air Force runs, and they do it to, they observe satellites and things like that. So I worked out there doing some science. So that was a lot of fun.
How
Science
many
stuff.
close encounters have you had in your career? Are you allowed to talk about that?
I can't talk about that.
They never can. When you retire, though, I'm coming for you.
I always tell, well, I'll tell you my favorite close encounter was I did a conference a few years ago. I think it was in Colorado, if I remember right. It was a Mars conference. It's a conference where, a bunch of the mucky mucks get together every year, and they kind of talk about the direction that they, we want to take the Mars program, and what are open issues and things like that. So there's a lot of conference papers and a lot of, hallway discussion. But my paper that I presented, I'm not going to bore you with the title of it, but in the audience was Buzz Aldrin, and it was a room full of about 10 people, and he asked me a bunch of questions. I got to talk to him for about 20 minutes, so that's my claim to fame. So
Nice.
that's the closest I've been.
This is your closest close encounter. That's great. So actually, while we have Chip here, we'll bop back to some of our other guests in a minute, but you might as well take advantage of hanging out with Chip here, and let's go back a little bit and talk a little bit about some of your filmmaking, and then you can take off, and then we'll bring in our other guests. So Chip, tell us a little bit about your origin story into filmmaking, because you've been making films for a while, as well as helping me with films, obviously. And then at the same time, you've always been deep into production of music. You've a lot of different music, a lot of different bands, a lot of different albums, and you've always been so kind to work with me and give me original music for my films. And as you've grown as a musician and filmmaker, it's amazing the variety of kinds of sounds and films you do, music you do. We asked for a rockabilly song, so we got a rockabilly song for our upbeat music that we shared for our theme. You've just composed for our short film. You've also composed I wanted a country western song to come out of a jukebox, and you created that song for us, which I just think is amazing how diverse you are with that. As well as
that one turned out nicely. There's I shared it with a couple of Americana artists that I've been working with, and they're like, "Can we sing on that? Can we do it?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know, maybe we'll see." So
I would love to hear some lyrics on that. I mean, we're going to be using obviously an instrumental version for our film, but again, and all these files, hopefully if you buy in, you get our little flash drive. All these files, the script, all of your music in high resolution, not just some squished MPEG, not something off of the YouTube, but they'll get all those things. And when you listen to your music with headphones on, it really brings it to the next level versus say through a little the little speaker in your phone. And I remember when you were working on a project years ago, probably when I was in college, and you were like, I noticed that you had a jam box up on this. You had this huge studio with these huge speakers and all these, levers like you have behind you right now. And you had this little jam box. And I was like, you have these huge speakers. Why would you need this little jam box? And you're like, well, I also have to hear the song that I'm making through those speakers, because not everybody has all these speakers and subwoofers and big speakers. So you taught me a lot about mixing and engineering just by watching you do what you do. So again, it's a thrill to open up, be creative with you again, and work on these projects. It's really fun. So
Yeah, that's fun. As you're mentioning that, let me see. I've got it sitting around here.
Look at all these wires.
So I was gonna
behind it.
yeah.
Maybe when I come back, I'll show you guys the bass that James painted for me back 30 years ago. So, and it's on some of the.
You still got it? That's awesome.
I still got it. Yeah, I've never sold that one.
Yeah,
So,
well, and then you were also a pinball collector as well. So
yeah, I was, and I just got rid of. I had two. I've rotated them in and out, and right now I don't have any, just because I've been running out of room and I've been thinking of moving. But I just got rid of a really sweet Gorgar that I've had for a long time. This like perfect playfield, completely restored, and I had a Gottlieb Paradise, which is like a Hawaii theme thing, and so that that one was, and I love that like 60s style art that's on the old EM games. So yeah, I just got rid of both of those, but yeah, I'm already missing them. It's been like a couple weeks now, so I'm ready to
Jones in a little bit more. There's a when I told Chip that we had made a film for Marco Specialty, he was like, "Oh yeah, I know those guys." And then you started talking about all these games that you're collecting. I didn't even know that you had gotten into pinball when I got back in touch with you to chat with you.
Yeah, it was just a few years ago here, and I'd always liked pinball, but I found one locally. I found an Aladdin, which I don't know if you know what that is. Yeah, it's a 70s, one of the later EM ones, and so I had that around for a while. Bought it for like $300, and fixed it up, and then I found Pinside and got on there and started talking to the techies and kind of got wrapped up into that. There's kind of the whole, there's the guys that are really into it for the tech. There's the guys who just want to play, and the artwork, folks and all that, which is cool. It ties into your film because you've got all those personalities in there too. So I can totally relate to that. So, but yeah, I kind of got the bug from that. So it's a rabbit hole. I found a fun house for you. I thought of you.
What?
I did. Somebody beat me to it, but it was a really good price. It was going to have to be fixed up, but you almost had a surprise in the mail.
Oh! My God, you make my heart pitter patter, my friend.
Yeah, now the ones that are out there now, I can find you. I'm not buying you those. Those are you're not, just warning you now.
I will tell people later on in the show that we had a really great connection when we put the feelers out, and I think we might be able to track one down here in Indiana. That we now have a connection in Indiana to a Wizard's Wonderland of pinball. So hopefully they're gonna help us, and hopefully in exchange we'll work with them. So I want to bop over and talk to some other people, Chip. So technically,
let's do that, because I gotta run and pick up my daughter. So
come back in and let's show them off the base, and people can also see what I do, other creative stuff other than filmmaking. I've been a painter. I'm still a painter, even though my wife wants me to paint more. And he has a piece that's pretty funny and pretty wild. So we'll talk more about that once we come back around.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
See you in a little bit. Let's run over to Lisa Barcy, who looks like she's sleeping. Lisa, wake up!
What? No, I look like I'm sleeping. It's the light. Very much awake.
Cut down your head.
Here, I'm playing with all the box of parts that I was sent. All of the pinball parts that I've been playing with. And so, yeah, I'm kind of just sitting here obsessing over all of them. I have little flippers.
Oh!
2 inches.
So Lisa, you're kind of up. We're going to talk a little bit about you. And, oh, by the way, when we get back, Amoto, I had notes here to talk to Chip about some of the references that you guys put into the music, like what is a beery and some other stuff. I have no idea. So there's some Biff. Yes, we saw Biff, but I was gonna tease him a little bit about that. So for anybody who's out there viewing, please tease away in the chat, and we'll hit him up when he returns. Lisa,
hi.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into pinball, as well as what you do, because you do really cool stuff, and I want to play some show and tell.
Oh, so I I'm a stop motion animator. Actually, I do a lot of different techniques, primarily stop motion, hybrid, and I independent filmmaker. And I honestly really didn't get into pinball until I was introduced to this project. And then I was like, oh,
Spreading the influence.
yeah. So, but then I went to the convention. Where was that? Where we went? Where we met?
It was Chicago. We met up in Chicago.
Yeah, that was a lot, of fun.
Chicago Expo, yeah.
Yes.
And your daughter liked pinball too, which is great.
2019 Pinball Expo.
That's right. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, so I've just been kind of brainstorming what I'm going to do with all these parts. Some of them are more useful than others, and I'm gonna get under the camera and start pushing them around and working my magic. But yeah, when I'm not working on films, I'm teaching at DePaul University in the animation program.
So you and I met in college many years ago. And I don't even know, I just knew of you and your talents because many people spoke of the animation classes, and I never got into an animation class, but really loved it and love animation. And you and I did a project for the Carmel Film Forum, was 2 years ago now.
That was
where
fun.
You taught animation and you got on. And the project that we're working on right now, the Skillshot Baby project, in November is going to use the same grant and same project where we're going to then show the film that we're creating for everybody, and that will be the first week of November. And but let's actually, sometimes I think seeing work from people brings up a lot of questions, both about content and other stuff. Moto, we have Lisa's reel that we created for that project, and we taught online. It was the middle of the pandemic, and we taught how to do stop motion with your with your cell phone and all these different techniques. And you can see that stuff if you go to the Moriarty Media website. It's archived there, as well as the curriculum and stuff that we created for that.
Yeah, and we had there was a prize for that as well.
Yes. No, we like giving away things. So it's always
I don't remember what the prize was, but it was
a camera. We gave away an animation suite.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right.
I think it was a Dragon Frame license.
Yeah, we gave away a license to a high-end software to do animation. Yeah, I was actually kind of jealous of my own prizes that I give away half the time. I'm always like, I could use that.
I wanted to.
I just give away things that I like.
If you had made an animation, Jim, maybe you would have won.
Maybe one day I will. Or I'll just get you to make my animations for me. So, Lisa, you're going to let's talk a little bit really quick before we show before we show your work. You are going to be giving us the intro animation to the short film.
Correct.
So, anybody who sees really cool stop motion animation or the little sock monkey waving, anything that's related to sock monkey waving or animated, it'll be Lisa. The feature film has these fairly elaborate dream sequences that then, if we get funded for doing the feature film, Lisa will come in and animate these very cool sequences. So, which are written on paper, but at the same time, I think when animating, some of the best stuff just comes out of you when you're animating, when you're with the things on the stage or whatever, or the copy stand. So I think what I have is I have directions. But again, I'll be amazed what you come out with. Even the little ears that you had on, we said, here's this sock monkey with this armature in it, make something out of it. I made that like years ago, but never animated with it. And I gave it to Lisa and said, animate with this thing. And I was amazed. How did you get the ears to flap at the end?
I just pure brute force.
He just broke his ears.
I did. I beat him up. He's really, he's in recovery right now. But yeah, it was actually a lot of fun to animate. It was, and I think the last thing I had been working on was a film with all flat puppets. So it was really great to get my hands on like a 3-dimensional puppet and be like, ah!
And hopefully our next piece, the piece that we do, will be a lot of 3-dimensional pieces as well. So we would like to animate on play fields, and we have all kinds of ideas. So and we'll see, how far we get, but we're really excited to include those segments and get your really cool little pieces throughout the film. There's like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that the more I can reference different pinball machines, just to use them as a point of inspiration for all the background artwork. And
all right, well, let's play some show and tell, and let's see your reel, and then we'll come back around and we'll hang out a little bit more and do some Q&A, and then we'll bop over and hang out with our buddy Jen,
to the
who's
content.
patiently waiting down there in a little cube.
I know, she's just nodding.
She's just nodding and smiling.
Emoting.
That's good.
She is
Emoting.
All right, let's. Yay!
Yay!
It was awesome. Super
Excellent
cool
work,
stuff.
Lisa.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Now, your reel
Everyone in the chat
is your reel though, Lisa, shows
cool.
20 years worth of work, and with different formats even. And back in the day when you and I did filmmaking, we didn't have digital, we didn't have cameras, and I can only imagine what people could do today with that technology. But we actually had to shoot it in film and then get it processed and then hope that the lab didn't mess it up and that we had right exposures. And we were using big, janky cameras like this.
I still have my Bolex.
You still have your Bolex too? Okay.
I haven't used it in a while.
I haven't.
But I have a weird emotional attachment to it. And the chance that I would screw up the filming was probably higher than the chance that the lab would screw it up. But
it was hard.
So it was you didn't really get to see what you shot until you were done with a 2.5 minute roll. And then,
Wow.
so it could be a month before you saw what you shot. And now it's instantaneous. So you'd think it would make everybody an animator, but it does not.
Because it's such hard work, and we just want to reap the benefits of your hard work and be entertained, and just wish that we could do it too. But
Now, the reel that you also showed all kinds of cool techniques. You had claymation, you had puppetry, you had stop motion, you had was it graphite that you were pushing around to do the
It was
squid one?
sand.
It was sand. Oh, okay.
I would do some digital compositing and fixing, but it's very, I actually have some here. It's a very, what is it called? It's art sand. So it's like specific for very fine grain. I could have just gone to the beach, but
the hobby stores are funner.
It's like very fine grain and much more uniform. And if you want that look, you can just pilfer some from the beach. But
now, at the same time, Lisa, you are also an award-winning filmmaker, and your last film you used these paper puppets, paper dolls that were just fascinating, and you did pretty well with the film circuit, the film festival circuit. Can you tell us about where you were showing and how well you did?
So yeah, that was
a really cool film.
Thank you. It was it had a good festival run, and it's kind of at the end of it now. And the downside of that was that I finished it. I sent it off to all the festivals like right away, and that was in February of 2020. And we all know what happened the month after. So the world shut down, and all the festivals went. Most of them did not cancel. Most of them went online, but it's definitely a different experience than seeing it live in a theater with an audience, hearing people react, having people talk to you about it afterwards. I did have a couple opportunities for that more recently, but it's like it almost lived this weird separate life away from me, just in online festivals. But at the same time, it racked up about 4 awards, which was nice.
Congratulations. Yeah, there's something to be said to be working really hard, pretty much in a vacuum for a long time, and then finally getting it out and sharing it with the world and seeing people's feedback about the things that like you wrote and at the time you thought was funny, but then you kind of lose it for a while. That the original inspiration's there. You're just getting it over the finish line. And then finally you get it out and you can actually see if it actually worked or what the reaction was from a live audience means a lot. And for even our Skillshot project, Skillshot Baby, one of our goals is to get it to conventions and show it through Barco with a moto at the different conventions, and even make a stereo or a anaglyphic 3D version, the old glasses version. So we're going to do some tests on our short to do a 3D version as well, and then the feature will be presented in 3D. So.
And I can tell you something weird about that is that I'm one of those people who 3D does not work on.
Ooh.
And it's because I have terrible vision. Crazy. It does not work. I put on a pair of 3D glasses and nothing happens, and I just get a headache.
Well, good thing you exist in the 3D world in real life anyway. So.
That's why I like stop motion.
That makes sense. I love that. That's actually really cool.
Different people see differently, and get an artist perspective on stuff's pretty awesome. So, and you've got a wonderful sense of humor to the stuff that you do too. That really makes it fun to work with you. I was taken by surprise that the sock monkey had his little ears move at the end. That just made me laugh so hard. So, anyway, really excited to see that little clip.
We have a quick question in the chat for Lisa. Thank you, Joel.
Sure.
It's not about aliens. Lisa, what animations inspire you?
Ooh. I've been teaching animation for a long time, so it's constantly changing. I think, some of my earliest, well, even earlier than college, like influences were just watching Bugs Bunny cartoons on Saturday afternoon. And I think that sensibility, along with like Marx Brothers films and things like that. And I don't necessarily make comedies, but there is something about the physical nature of those that I really like. But then at the same time, I also was really blown away by work by the Quay brothers and by Czech animator Jan Svankmajer, all of these kind of surrealist stop motion animators who were making more experimental films. I think that's possibly why I also tend to work in a bunch of different styles, because I like so many other animators. A lot of the people I'm following lately, the more contemporary animators, are not doing stop motion. They're mostly doing more anything, not necessarily stop motion. Like, I don't like something just because it's a stop motion film. But yeah, some of my more favorite ones are hand drawn.
Now, I found something that I was inspired by, a film, and I don't know who made it. You can tell me. You probably know. But The Peanut Vendor.
Len Lai.
Okay. If people do a little Google for Peanut Vendor, I would happily have shown it today, but we had so much going on, which was something I really, really love. And I mentioned it. We do these books of kind of things that influence scripts. So we create these archives of pictures and different stuff. And I put a bunch of animation in it for Lisa. She's like, "Oh yeah, the Peanut Vendor. Yeah, everybody knows about the Peanut Vendor." And I'm like, the first time I saw it, it's awesome, So, yeah, I would look forward to seeing. Now that I know his name, I'll Google him and find anything else that he's done.
That is actually, I think, the only animation he ever did with puppets, with stop motion puppets. All of his other films were these experimental abstract films that he did, and he was an avid collector of music, so he had a great music collection. And then he, like in the 50s, stopped making films and went to kinetic sculpture.
Hey, Jen, you're hanging out over there. I've got it on the monitor over there. Let's bring Jen in and see if Jen's got any questions for Lisa, because she's probably got her head coming up with all kinds of stuff.
I'm just more fascinated with like the process behind everything. Like I know I won't be able to see that when we're on set, but like I just want to go and like hang out in your studio one day and just like watch you do it, because it's just, I've watched a couple of documentaries on like the making of a few different like stop motion films or short films, and it's such a fascinating process to me. And you must have so much patience. You must have so much patience too, and attention to detail.
You definitely build up to that. I was going to say that if we make the feature film, then you probably will be able to, because we'll have a dedicated space just for that.
And we'll do lots of behind the scenes too. Jen, we'll just send you there, and you can we can turn you into an interviewer now. We'll just keep adding on things. You can go and,
good with that.
How many hats do you want to
hang
wear,
out.
Jen?
So let's talk about Jen's hats and how Jen got involved with us. Now, Jen, the more I'm hanging out with Jen, the more I'm enjoying Jen. Jen's got the greatest smile in our whole group of people, I think. Next to Emoto, who's got a great smile. And then Lisa, you can smile for me, Lisa.
Come on. Smiling.
No, okay. Anyway,
you should show everyone your Muppet smile, James.
Oh, okay. There's a gag in in the script where we talk about, and it's in the story. But I worked in photography for years after I went to college. Not that anybody was going to hire me as an experimental filmmaker. So I did a lot of photography and did a lot of stuff. And one of my jobs was to print all night, and I would print autopsies and huge pictures. This is before PowerPoint. These 8.5 by 11 autopsies that then they would show at the during hearings. They would hold the big picture up of the dead guy, but I was the guy who actually made those pictures all night long. It was just death.
It's an interesting job.
Yeah, I had access to all the photography I ever would want. So I would print it. I would do all this other stuff. So I had all this photography, and I decided when everybody was taking pictures, randomly taking pictures all the time. We had, little snap and shoot cameras. We had our 35 millimeter cameras, and I decided to use a Muppet smile anytime anybody was taking a picture of me. So I would stand and just go, like, behind the scenes, and because Muppets can't smile, they have no jaw, so they just open their mouths and kind of twist their heads around. So that's a Muppet smile. And my wife
have to learn that.
My wife found the cache of Muppets photography that I had, and she got really angry at me because she goes, "There's no pictures in here where you look like you have a nice smile." And she had to kind of reprogram me so that when a camera came out that I wasn't acting goofy and smiling like a Muppet. So that is called a Muppet smile. And we actually put that into the feature screenplay. So if you've watched that and you see the film and you learn about the Muppet smile, I think Emoto dug that line.
I didn't realize it was like has a very dark story.
Yeah, I
was just like, just do the smile, and then it's like.
No, the story is deeper and scarier. Yeah.
Layers. I like it.
It's James. James has layers, man.
Derailed us introducing Jen.
It's okay. I enjoyed that story, so it's. I probably did a Muppet smile too, like growing up. I'm sure there's a cache of photos of me doing that.
If not, we all.
It should always be that way.
You always look pretty good, though. I think they're always, you look happy, upbeat. So, Jen, tell us a little bit about your origin story, a little bit about yourself, how you found our project. I don't know a lot about you so far, but I do know that you're also a competitive pinball player, and you've been really racking up, doing a really good job. You travel even to do these competitive events. So tell us a little bit about how you've come into your role in our film, and what you do for our film, and then tell us a little bit about your love of pinball.
Yeah, so it actually came about because I saw a post you did on Facebook, James, where, do your Muppet smile.
You'll see a lot of it once you get to know me.
I saw your post about the production manager position, and I had an opportunity to read the script before, and I really enjoyed it. And I know Emoto from all of the shows, so Emoto probably travels more than I do.
She's a celebrity.
I don't know, man. You're hitting up. I see your face in so many different tournament albums. Like, how is she there? How is she there too?
It's my teleporter.
How to clone yourself with that.
I did. Either that, it's my teleporter.
Clones, yeah.
So I reached out to Emoto about the production manager position, because a lot of what a production manager does is what I've come to learn, what I do on a daily basis. So my day job is not as exciting as being an astrophysicist and being an animator who teaches. I just teach insurance for a living, but it's a lot of organizing and developing workshops and making sure we stay on track, a lot of pivoting at last minute when we have somebody who cancels for a workshop we're supposed to be doing, or a last minute like, hey, you got to do this workshop in a half hour. And so I thought that those were some skills that could translate to the movie, and just thought I would give it a shot to reach out to Emoto, and here we are. I'm part of the team, which I'm really excited about. And so I guess very similar to, Yes, the power of Facebook. Similar to Lisa, found pinball kind of later in life. So I didn't really play pinball as a kid, and mine is a story of revenge. I wanted to be better than my ex that broke up with me, who introduced me to pinball.
That's our next movie.
Yep.
It is.
So
we've got to wrap that into something for sure.
So I started playing a little bit later, and then it just kind of spiraled from there, getting really like deep into the hobby. And so a lot of my social media, I like to incorporate what I do for a living with pinball, which is teaching. So I'm a facilitator, so I like teaching about places to go, how to play machines, different skills. And so I wear many hats, as you have said, in life. I wear lots of different hats and do lots of different things. So
and filmmaking is one of those wonderful things where you have to wear many hats. So we
love it.
Really appreciate you coming on board and helping us out. Moto and I have been wearing a lot of hats on the project, writing, directing, doing all kinds, producing parts of it. And by having Jen on board,
oh my gosh, it's been amazing.
During the actual filming of the project,
I can sleep at night now.
Yes.
So great. Thank you.
She'll get less emails, less texts from me going, "What the hell?" By having her on board, we can do our creative bit. Amoto is an excellent cinematographer and filmmaker herself. And to think in the world of light and shadows and camera movement and expressing a story through cinema, and having that focus versus, oh shit, I've got to go feed the crew or they're going to get cranky, or, oh dude, the bathroom's over there. Jen,
just yell at me.
Jen is going to come on as, she's production manager, which means helping us organize, getting our budget together, doing all that. But then she's also going to come to the shoot and be our assistant director, which is the role of herding the creatives around. So she can tap us on the shoulder and say, you guys, you only have 15 minutes to get the shot. See, this time, this is my time, and you need to keep on moving. And we'll just have to agree with her because she knows all. We have to bow to
all of our agreeing with you are gonna be paired with grumpy faces.
But then you just see my smile and you become like very bright in the morning. Like that's
why
that's why like I worked at a coffee shop for almost 10 years, and that was like I loved brightening people's days because I was the first face they saw in the morning. So like when they saw my bright shining face, they were like, we're gonna have a good day. And you can say that, in 6 hours, and you hate me for like trying to rush you through the shot because you got to be on schedule. So
I don't think anybody can hate you, Jen. I think I have not. At least I haven't. Yes, no, I think
we'll talk offline.
Yeah, we'll talk offline. There's gonna be a time, but we're a family. We love each other. We'll figure it out no matter what. And we're going to give birth to this film of it, and it takes stages to get it done, to raise awareness of the idea, to get people emotionally invested as well as financially invested in this thing. And we've reached out to our pinball community to help us out with a Kickstarter. And we're going to talk a little bit about that toward the end of our program, where we're going to discuss a little bit about those people who have contributed. We want to celebrate them and call out their names on the program. And we're going to do that here shortly. Does anybody have any questions from our viewers or anybody else going on, Moto?
Yeah, does anyone have any questions you want to drop in the chat? And while y'all think of that, Jen, can you do like a shout out of where we can find your awesome pinball content too? Because Jen is also an amazing
she does some really good
creator.
stuff.
I think you kind of just breezed past that. But I want to hear again, like your TikTok. I'm gonna put it in the chat so people can click on it.
Yeah, I was like, the focus is on the movie. Don't focus on me.
No, it's all about.
No,
it's about.
No.
It takes a community of
and fun content.
Yeah, you're a maker as well, for sure.
Especially the Hup stuff you guys.
Yeah, you should have just been on the Big Picture Pinball Show because you make content too.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you.
We should have done a sizzle reel for Jen that had all different TikTok.
Well, we can still do that. We can still show a Jen sizzle reel. I think that would be good for a future show.
Yeah, so I'm mainly the most active on TikTok, so you can find me at jrupe, so JAY_RUPE on TikTok, or you can just search Pinball Jen. There's not a lot of pinball creators on TikTok, so I always say if you search pinball on TikTok, there's bound to be a top video where you will find me. I'm also on Instagram, mainly documenting like the different places that I go to and tournaments that I play in. And then haven't been as active, but trying to get back into it lately. I'm also on YouTube at Pinball Jen on YouTube, which I've been in the chat a little bit, so you can just probably follow me from the chat on YouTube. So yes,
when we're
that's
done
where
with
I'm
this
the most
project,
active.
I'd love to see you go back and start doing your YouTube videos. Jen was going around and interviewing a bunch of people in the community and visiting arcades and doing all the stuff that I love to see too. And we can't never create enough content documenting
for sure.
the history of the community and just capturing those moments. So.
Jen, we have plenty of cameras in this project. Just tell us where to point them, and we'll happily help you out. What comes around goes around, Jen.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We were here for you in your filmmaking, whatevers.
Thank you. My camera is probably not as nice as all of yours, so.
Yeah. Any camera's a good camera as long as you're making something with it. Any camera is good as far as I'm concerned. We also next up we have an audition coming up this weekend. We are doing our second audition. Can you put up the poster or one of the posters for the audition?
I can.
Amoto, and we'll talk about the audition and what we're looking for. We touched on it a little bit in the beginning of the show, but I just want to reinforce where to go, as well as what we're still looking for, as well as that's good. That'll work. Just
yeah. See, MC34WI is a bot. No, I'm kidding. It's not a bot, but he says Jen is why I stopped by.
As she should be. She's super Jen.
And they have a fun house that we might use. So connections. Amazing.
It's all about it. We already went through a series of auditions, which we spoke about in the beginning of the show, but we're going to be auditioning again this weekend. So Amoto and I will be there online, seeing people read, kind of seeing what kind of talent we have out there. We have a fun video that we're going to be posting here, where Amoto is looking for. She really wants to get pinball people in the show. So if you're a pinball person, if you're an actor person, don't let the suggestions frighten you away. If there's anything in here, please sign up, hang out with us for a little bit, tell us a little bit about who you are, do a read for us. If there's not something in these three characters, we have an entire feature film that we're preparing. We have all kinds of people in there. So, or we might think you're such a wonderful character, just that we're so impressed with your charisma, we might go, hey, and write you something. Who knows? You might be an inspiration to us as well. So sign up, hang out with us this weekend. Any other ideas there? Figure out what your favorite tree is. That's really important. Think of foliage as you, just to let you know. But you'll find out later what that means.
Fun curveball icebreaker direction for y'all. Get ready. But it's great. It's super great. And it's a lot of fun. And yeah, like James says, we just want to meet y'all and have you come out. And if you can't make it to those days, please just record. You can record on your phone. Anything. On your webcam. It doesn't matter the quality. As long as we can sort of hear you.
We had a couple of leads that I'm interested in that can't make this audition, but send us a video or even and if we're intrigued by it, we'll set up a time and hang out with you and have you read, and then we'll probably pair some people up. And my apologies to anybody else out there from the previous audition who think that they might not have something have happened. We just had a bit of a hiccup and we had to move some of our shoot dates back. into September probably. So it's a big hiccup, but at the same time, it also gets us more awareness of the program. We can spend more time on the Kickstarter. We have a couple other things that we can address. But we had one of our persons that we thought that would play one of our major roles got ill. So, and because of that, we were going to move some stuff around to work with him, and then it didn't happen. So, we're gonna see what's gonna happen here. So it's all this kind of communication. So many things in filmmaking with so many people. It's all about weaving people together and having the right people at the right time. And sometimes it's hard to find those times and bring them together. So, and from what I understood, we had a really interesting interview. You had a live stream with Todd Tuckey. Can you tell me a little bit about that? That was kind of cool.
I didn't know if I was allowed to say it. I just like at the tip.
I don't know. Why not?
I don't know why not. So yeah, the other day, last Friday, I impromptu jumped on Todd Tuckey's live stream. He does like a walk around live stream, and auditioned him for one of the lead roles in the short, and maybe carrying over to the feature. And it was amazing because he was reading for a character that is exactly him. And he did such an awesome job, James. So I recorded and sent it to y'all, and we'll see. Like everyone, schedules and stuff come into play as well too. And Todd Tuckey is a very busy man, but it would be absolutely amazing if we had him as a part of this project, because he is just such an amazing person, an amazing storyteller in his own right too. So we'll see. We're gonna do another audition with him, and when we find our other leads, like James says, doing some pair ups. So again, there have been some people that are like, oh, I auditioned before and I haven't heard back. I promise you're probably still very much in the running. We're just, after this weekend, you'll start hearing us, but we're excited. Yeah.
So, if you don't know Todd Tuckey, if you're not a pinball enthusiast,
or arcade,
he is, arcade enthusiast, he's a wild man. So,
TNT Amusements, everyone, check it out on YouTube. It's the greatest content ever.
Yeah.
Oh, his videos are hilarious on YouTube. So definitely go watch those because they're great.
Can't be like that for anyone that's
and I love
what
it.
Is this?
And I love it.
That is the style.
I know he was so excited because he finally won a Twippy this year.
Oh my god, I almost cried when we found out that Todd won, and trying to not say anything until we got him on stage, and then I had to convince him, without telling him he won, to come to Texas, which he'd never been to Texas, sort of thing. It was a whole thing, but well deserved. He's amazing.
So let's play the video, which will be the Pinball High Score supporter campaign. So we have a little video that we want to play for you. We have an idea of a way to, if you have already helped us with the Kickstarter, or you don't want to do Kickstarter, that's fine. But we still need to get the word out about this project, as well as build community behind it. So we had an idea, and we want to present it to you, and we'll hopefully see you on the other side, and we can discuss if we need to. If not,
I was so into the conversation. Can let's talk about something else, maybe some Q&A, while I actually load this video in. I actually have some questions from the chat, James, that you can.
Oh yeah, totally. Let's. Because
let me download.
We don't mind going on.
From Draugr. Draugr asked this a while ago, but it wasn't in the context yet. But now is a great time to ask. Draugr said, "How did the initial idea for this project come from? Just wanted to make a pinball movie, or was there an overall story idea you had in mind from the start?" So we do have a pretty detailed origin story if you wanted to sort of touch base on that, James.
It's pretty elaborate. And I'll try to be I'll definitely try to get the short version, because we want to give everybody a chance to chat about things, but long enough for her to load that video. I met uh, Paul Mandeltort at an event in a gallery in
He's
pine
the
trees,
current owner
and
of
he is
Marco
he
Pinball?
is the he was the son of
Mark
Paul Mandeltort, who
Mandeltort.
opened up Marco Specialties at the time, which is now Marco Pinball, which Emoto works for. He had talked about his father, and that he had built this business about pinball. That I like pinball, and I was shooting some photography. He liked what I was doing. I told him that I was making films and doing different documentaries and writing screenplays, and he was like, "Would you teaching film making?" And he said, "Would you be interested in doing a documentary about my dad? I think that would be really cool to get some video about him." So he invited me to my first pinball convention, where I met Emoto, and then Emoto was doing. You were covering that pinball convention as
Yeah,
Emoto
it was
Arcade, right?
Grand Old Game Room Expo, which is now Music City Multicon in Nashville, and I was just there doing Emoto Arcade walkthrough content.
So we met each other, and we got along, Emoto and I, and Paul was like, "Would you like an assistant, James, on this documentary? Would you like Emoto to come down?" And we were going to drive down from that pinball convention down to Marco Specialties headquarters, and so I was like, "Sure, more the better." I didn't have any help, so I was just like, any assistance is great. So so as we were driving down we had a, I don't know, 4 hour drive. It was a fairly long drive back to their headquarters, and Paul hung out with me, and we talked a lot about pinball and about the history of pinball. And I was, learning about the industry because I didn't know much, and at the same time, being a guy in the industry his whole life, growing up in it, I learned so much about the industry, his father, where he saw pinball going to. And I asked him, where is pinball going? What is happening in pinball? And he was like, "Do you see?" He's like, "It's coming back, but it's coming back in like barcades, that kind of thing. That's where we see the growth. But at the same time, we need more women and more young people in pinball, because all the collectors of pinball machines are just older males, and it's a very specific demographic. And if pinball is going to grow and flourish, that we need to bring young people into the game and grow it with competition and excitement about it, and learning more about the history of pinball. All these are really good things. So we did the About Marco documentary, and Emoto clicked. She was good. You knew your lenses, you knew your craft. I didn't have to ask you to do things. I didn't know what I was getting when I first met you. You were just this girl that looked very hip.
I know,
and I was just like,
yeah.
"Hey, hip lady."
I am a professional, although I don't always dress like that.
She blew my mind. And we got some great footage. We collaborated on the footage, and Emoto had shot some of these other events and brought a lot of really wonderful footage to the video that really rounded it out and told a really good story. So we got some great interviews, and the video was a big success. And then they're like, "Hey, how about doing something else? And would you guys like to collaborate in other projects?" So we did the first PinTech series about installing games. And we then did Emoto then started working with them to do other projects. And then Emoto was telling me too more about the people that she really found an influence in pinball, and being basically Moto being the demographic. I listened a lot, and she was like, "You're just coming off of another film that I had written about a spiritualist community here." That was a coming of age story, and Emoto really liked it and goes, would you be interested in maybe producing or writing something with me about pinball? And we had this whole kind of mission about what we wanted to do for young people and getting more people in it. So we wrote kind of a coming age story, a love story about pinball, and we then have been workshopping it now for a couple of years with COVID. We've had actor table reads. Jen took a look at it. You know, we were really looking for anybody to read it that was female or younger, to see if we were hitting the marks. We did pretty well with the old pinball guys, but but Jen was like, "Hey, this is actually a good story.